I'm Michael Caine.
Michael Caine.
You do realize that when you say my cocaine, it sounds like you're saying my cocaine.
Yeah.
Hey,
love it.
Hey, that's my cocaine.
Do you know who this is?
That's my cocaine.
My cocaine, my cocaine.
That's what I would like to pitch you, dragons. Michael Caine's my cocaine.
My cocaine by Michael Caine.
That's his Armani said.
Yeah.
Don't try that cocaine. That's not my cocaine. This is my cocaine. My cocaine.
Michael Caine's my cocaine.
Wait, are you saying that your cocaine is Michael Caine?
Michael Caine's my cocaine.
No. My cocaine is my cocaine.
Welcome to the Dr. DC podcast. My name is Colin, and next to me is the doctor himself.
Hello.
And as always, we're joined by our producer, Richard.
Hoo-hoo.
God damn it.
He got us. I could feel it. I could feel it coming, though.
In the air tonight.
Yeah. Each week, we talk about the weird and wonderful world of DC Comics. You okay? You gonna make it?
Yes, I'm good.
And movies while fielding questions from listeners like you. Well, I told you I was immortal. You yourself fought the decadence of Gotham for years with all your strength, all your resources, all your moral authority, and the only victory you achieved was a lie. Now you understand Gotham is beyond saving and must be allowed to die.
Very threatening.
A very Ra's al Ghul of you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's who that was. I was thinking, well, there's no jokes in there.
By way of Liam Neeson. Yes.
He is Liam Neeson in this?
So, yeah.
Did you
While I
see
told
Batman
you.
Begins?
While I told you.
Oh, yeah.
When I told you I was immortal.
Oh, that's pretty good. I'm actually kind of surprised.
You yourself fought the decadence of Gotham for years.
We're losing it. It was good, though.
Richard,
With all your strength.
Richard, we have your daughter.
Yeah, no, he's just about to sing a sea shanty.
For all your strength, all your resources, all your lucky charms.
Oh, good.
This is White Wine Drunk, friends.
We're doing
You're in
it.
for an episode. It's
Episode 25.
that's right. Halfway to 50.
Remember that show, My Drunk Kitchen, on YouTube back in the day?
No.
Yes, I
5
do.
years ago?
Yes, I do. It was with that the girl inside like a shitty little apartment. That
Yeah.
one? Yeah. She interviewed like bands and stuff. She interviewed bands.
No, she would just get shit-faced and then try to
Oh,
cook.
yes,
Yeah.
I do remember that. There is a version of that from Toronto though, where she interviews bands.
Oh, that's kind of neat.
Yeah, I'm probably a different girl, but
Anyways, in news, Justice League cinematographer hopes for a director's cut, and so do we.
Yeah, I would love to see a director's cut.
though I did see that apparently the digital effects person who's ever in charge of that said that there wasn't any extra footage and there couldn't be. So there's been so much bullshit about this.
Everyone seems to think they know what's happening in all corners of the thing. I mean, ultimately, I think it would be awesome if we saw a director's cut. We talked about it last episode. It would basically be a different movie if we saw the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League.
Yeah.
I'm up for it, and yeah, the cinematographer's up for it too. But does that mean it's going to happen, or that it's more likely to happen? I don't think so. I think Zack Snyder also signed the petition. I saw something about that online. Apparently, there's a bunch of fake names, so now the whole petition is bogus or whatever.
It's just Zack Snyder. He's made 5,000 fake email address, and he's just sending all them.
Yeah, that's right. Just spamming the petition. Yeah, I mean, I don't know that it necessarily makes it more likely, but I do think that it shows some of those internal issues that we know exist in Warner Brothers. You know, if people are very kind of publicly I would have rather this version be out there. I think that's the same as Jared Leto being upset about the lack of his Joker footage that ended up in Suicide Squad. It's the same as basically name it from these past DCEU films where something was tweaked or changed or the studio intervened and people were upset about it. They're right to be. I don't necessarily know that that's going to result in something different. But
I don't think they need to. Yeah.
We did get the ultimate cut of Batman v Superman, but I think that movie was just done. You know what I mean? And then they edited it more for the theatrical cut. I think the issue with this Zack Snyder cut of Justice League
it's a different edit. Like that's a completely different movie.
And there's like visual effects that aren't rendered. There's like things that just didn't get worked on anymore because the movie kind of went in a different direction. So it's slightly more complicated than that one, but
and also
I'm fingers crossed. I would love to have it.
I would love it too, but I think it's funny that people are like signing like 100,000 like people have signed this petition. The reality is like that doesn't really mean anything because that's 100,000 people that probably would just buy the DVD regardless. I don't see that swaying Warner Brothers.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would definitely sway them more if all of the people signing that petition were also basically saying they weren't going to.
Yes.
Buy.
These are just people saying release it because we want it, and it's just like, well, yeah, I want that I want that Prince movie that was never released to public, but that doesn't mean I'm going to get it, no matter how many people sign up.
By the same token, there is an element of it which is Warner Brothers knows that they're kind of in trouble because they've really dropped the ball and like messed this thing up. Regardless of whether or not you liked watching Justice League.
How do you mean
as much as you did?
Well, yeah, whether or not you enjoyed watching Justice League, there's enough, I think, backlash, both critically and from fans, about the Justice League that came out, that they do have to do a little bit of like...
I mean, look, I have issues with Suicide Squads. I had definite issues with Justice League. But at the end of the day... I wonder if Warner Bros. Is starting to call their bluff because everybody talks shit about Suicide Squad and then everybody is going out to see this movie. Yeah. So like everyone shit on Batman v Superman, everyone went out to see Suicide Squad. So like at a certain point, it doesn't seem to be affecting their bottom line.
Yeah, I suppose not. Yeah, well, like we said, fingers crossed, because I would love to see what that movie.
Maybe that's the shill corporate man inside of me, but
no, I mean it's a good point. Mm-hmm. I think that's an appropriate level of cynicism.
That's what the entertainment industry has done to me.
I'm just hoping that those 100,000 people who are signing this petition have also signed up for the one to make me Ragman.
Oh, by the way, I actually checked on that hashtag before we came over here. Hashtag Colin #4 Ragman. It's a resounding don't care. Zero. No one tweeted it.
No.
Man, what a disappointment.
Yeah.
Though, to be fair,
you put yourself out there.
I did. I tried.
Our listeners and the internet at large said, we'll get the next one.
Yeah. They went, they said, we're not saying no. Yeah. That's all we're saying.
Yeah.
They were like, we're really busy making fun of Donald Trump today.
They're so dispassionate about the idea that they won't even vehemently oppose it.
They're so strongly know that it won't happen that they don't care.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, if you still want Colin for Ragman, that's the hashtag. Hashtag Colin for Ragman. Be the first to use it.
All it takes is one, And then the floodgates open.
That's right.
That's right.
No one wants to be the first guy on the dance floor.
Unless you're Colin.
As they say. Shazam hires Thor Ragnarok and Aquaman stunt coordinator. Ooh, that sounds fun.
Yeah. I mean, we haven't seen Aquaman yet.
But you've seen Thor.
But I have seen Thor Ragnarok. And it had great action in it. And some really cool fights. And yeah. I mean, I think this stunt coordinator, whose name I'm going to forget. Something Gardner, I think. But he also worked on I think he worked on Kong Skull Island and... San Andreas and maybe like a Pirates movie or something like that. He's got a pretty big and deep resume, but
those are all pretty high action movies. So I mean, that kind of says something about.
Yeah, I mean, but I mean, it only says that yes, this superhero movie will be actiony.
But I mean, that says something because I mean, the reality is look at Ant-Man. How much action's really in Ant-Man? That's not VFX, there's not much.
The stunt coordinators are probably more involved in VFX shots now than they ever were before because they do so much more with motion capture than
they can just hire our friend Chad and he can do all the moves and then animate them.
That's right.
Go back to the episode with Chad Smith.
Yeah, that's right. Chad Smith, martial artist.
Episode what?
13.
13. Yeah, Jesus Christ, it's been that long. This is episode 25.
We were so young back then.
Oh my God, so naive.
But yeah, so what I was going to say, Thor Ragnarok had great action scenes, and even though we haven't seen Aquaman yet, we know that this stunt coordinator has had to do some new kind of interesting things because so much of that movie will presumably take place underwater. So it would be interesting to see if he views Shazam as like an equal sort of challenge to those previous two things, and or like what he brings to the table for that movie. I mean, we've seen movies with like flying fight scenes before. That's not new, but like maybe he's gonna brings some sort of new flavor to it.
Something from like underwater into the sky. I think that like it's good. It can only get better. I always have some issues with kind of sky fights anyways, because it's always just really fast and then like they slow down, hits each other and then go really fast again.
Or it ends up like Matrix Revolutions, like that like, stupid Dragon Ball Z kind of fight.
So I would like something new for sure.
Yeah, totally.
Or just 3 movies of them powering up.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Patrick Gleason tweets Bizzaro Boy.
Yeah, Patrick Gleason, who's been working on Super Sons, which is John Kent, Superboy, and Damian Wayne, Robin, teamed up. He just tweeted out a picture of Bizzaro Boy, which is hilarious. It's just this like sad kind of like Bizzaro version of Superboy. Not like the kind. I don't think it's the kind of Bizzaro like you read in that comic. I don't think it's from the Bizzaro Earth. Okay. I think this is like the malformed clone version of Bizzaro that exists in like the main Earth. But yeah, the Bizzaro Boy, he's on his way for Super Sons. So
I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I think that book in general has been a lot of fun. And I mean, even though he's kind of meant to be a bit of an antagonist and he looks so sad, he's kind of like adorable, this Bizzaro Boy like drawing that Gleason tweeted out. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that too.
Details revealed for the new Watchmen TV show by Damon Lindelof.
Lindelof.
Yeah, I mean,
Lindelof.
The opposite of Lindelon.
Lindelof.
That really turned me Lindelof.
Yeah, well, you know. Win some and lose some. Yeah, they say details released. Not a ton, but basically in like...
It's also been on and off for...
Has it been Lindelof?
Since the last few months.
Now it's back
Lindelof and Lindelon.
But basically he said... He actually praised like Zack Snyder's Watchmen and said, like, I think that's basically like the best possible film adaptation of such a dense comic book. You know, like how would you possibly turn it into a movie? And he's like, that's pretty much it, which is kind of how I felt about that movie, because a lot of people don't like it, but I think it's great. But what he's implying is it's not the complete Watchmen, and you could do something different in the television format, that longer form of storytelling, than you can in a 2.5 hour film. So the only thing we're getting out of this is that look for, I guess, just more of the tiny details, more of the backstory that's in the book that might not have quite made the film, or things that were just sort of hinted at in the film, or little like nods.
I think
would
that
actually get some exploration the way they do in the comic. I'm still interested if they've discovered a way to sort of like screenplay-ize there's so many like documents and things in Watchmen, like between chapters of the book, you're reading like government documents or like newspaper articles.
They would probably just have to like go to what the actual things they're talking about are,
or things like that. So I wonder if this TV show is going to try and tackle some of those things that are really difficult to literally translate like page to screen.
Because
try and like feed those in if you have more time.
Had you read Watchmen obviously before you saw the movie, right?
I hadn't. Actually.
Oh, really? Because my biggest complaint with the Watchmen movie was I felt like this is a world that is going on around me, and I am not connected enough to the things that people are referencing. Like it felt a little inside baseball for me, even how long it was. Yeah. I felt like I was like, this seems like it's been building towards this, but I don't have that history.
Well, when I saw it when it first came out, I hadn't read Watchmen, and I watched the movie, and I think in general, my like preference of storytelling is maybe like slightly slower paced, a little more like methodical. Like I like the political thriller.
I do too. I just like to understand what's going on.
I watched it and it kind of inspired me to read the book because I enjoyed the movie. But then, I wanted to know more about it. And then I read the book, realized like how much more
there actually was
in the book. But I still think that movie is probably like the best possible film version you can make.
Yeah, I heard it's like it was pretty like 1 for 1.
Oh, certainly visually, like it's like panel for panel, like accurate, which actually was a criticism. A lot of people didn't like that. They felt like it was like too like derivative. But
which is funny because
if it went the other way, they'd be like, "You're not respecting the source material."
Yeah.
So
keep a perfect medium.
So I'm interested to see if the TV show is going more to the source material in terms of like what is in the story. I wonder if it'll diverge a little bit visually, because the film did that. The film did like the super like faithful visual storytelling. So I wonder if the TV show will maybe go a slightly different direction because they're being really faithful story wise.
Which I'd be into.
Yeah.
WB Games looking for new blood for DC video game.
I'm so excited for this.
Yeah, I think I don't know if this has been debunked or not, but the rumor was that the new DC video game might be like a Superman game.
God, I want that so bad.
Like coming out of Rocksteady, who did
Rocksteady
the Arkham games, which would be awesome.
They're still working with Rocksteady, I believe, but they're just looking for a new like leader of a team.
Yeah, they're looking for like new
art director or something
and
like
like
that.
technical
Yeah.
kind of personnel. I guess just to like zhuzh it up, just because they don't just want to like take like what worked in
Make an
Arkham, just,
Arkham
like,
and make an Arkham
put the
Superman
Flash in
movie
there or whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah. I want a Superman movie. This game so bad.
Superman deserves a good game because he really hasn't had.
It would
one.
be so hard though. Like they've done it before and it's been okay. Like I liked the 64.
Did you play
Superman.
like the Superman Returns game? Like,
Yeah. And they were okay. I think people give it really a lot of criticism, but I really enjoyed it.
It's hard because there's so many things to juggle.
Well, all the
With
powers.
the flying mechanic, so many powers, and like it could very easily go to the wanted destruction thing. Like, if you make, like that open world sandbox thing where you could like pick up a skyscraper.
Yep, that would be the game for me. It'd be the first
easily.
and
It's
only
Grand Theft
video
Auto, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
It's like the only video game I'd play.
Well, that's kind of, there's like a Hulk video game that was kind of like that, where you would just like run around the city and just like demolish buildings, basically.
but that's Hulk's jam. Hulk no understand.
No, that's like
Hulk's not really thinking
that's like
about the
Sim
civilians.
City from like the Nintendo days.
Yeah. Well,
You're just like,
except SimCity.
oh, there's a
couldn't you just make
tornado.
you make a tornado come through and wipe out your town. You could just blame it on the tornado.
My wife and I have been playing a lot of The Sims right now. The new Sims 4 just came out.
Do you do the thing where you like put someone in a room and take the door in?
So I told her, I was telling her about that because this is okay, but this is the first, that's her response basically. Because I was like, have you ever played The Sims before? And she was just like, no. And I was like, oh, it's fun because you can like put someone in like a pool and then like wall it up.
Yeah.
And she was just like, what is wrong with you? I'm like, or just like put them in a room and then like put an oven in there and then it'll eventually set a fire and they'll die.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
That was her response as well. So if you also did that, tweet us at with hashtag SimDeath.
No.
Hashtag SimDeath. I like that.
Or simulated death.
No.
Let's not like dump into those hashtags too much.
Yeah, let's be very careful.
I feel like,
I like
some
the-
sort of internet subculture we don't want to involve.
Come on, 4chan, I know you're out there.
Harley Quinn is getting her own animated series.
Yeah, so the idea of this is that it's like a adult animated series, not porno.
I feel like, have we had this conversation now? Because I feel like you said that.
We had this off mic.
Was it off mic? Yes. A new adult Harley
because
Quinn.
I said adult animated, and as soon as I did, I was like, it's not hentai.
Yeah. I was going to say, I'm like, that animation's been going on in my head since I saw Suicide Squad.
It probably already exists.
It definitely does.
Jesus.
3 of them.
It's really weird that you made really hard eye contact there, both of you.
Oh, it's weirder for me. Okay. So yeah,
Pornhub's a wonderful thing.
The idea is that in the spirit
We're gonna get sponsorship by them because
Dude, I hope so.
that'd be ridiculous.
I
Who are we
hope
getting
so.
sponsorship from?
Pornhub.
Oh, from Pornhub? Yeah, they got money. Let's do it.
You know who used to sponsor podcasts all the time? Fleshlight.
Really?
Yeah. Just saying.
God.
I guess our market would probably work for that.
What are you trying to say of these studly men that listen to us? Have you seen Josh Gill?
No, I have not.
I'm just saying.
What are you
Yeah,
saying?
not to objectify you, put you on the spot while you're listening to this podcast.
But
Josh.
you agree he's handsome.
I won't comment.
Yeah, exactly. I'll take that as a yes. strong enough in my
What was I
masculinity.
saying? Oh yeah. So the idea is that this cartoon will be targeted at like kind of like our demographic. It won't be like a kid's cartoon, but it'll be like Harley Quinn on kind of like solo adventures.
Guys
and
with
things
flashlights
like
who are looking it up on Pornhub.
that. I hope not. But
If they make it where like that remember that Jackie Chan show? No, Jackie Chan had an animated show and it was really fun. It was the best.
It's called Jackie Chanimation.
I think it was Jackie Chan Adventures. It's amazing.
No, I didn't.
But it's just this like high action like comedy show, and I think it would totally work.
I think Harley Quinn is like full of like potential for like a really like fun like animated show, and kind of animated shows targeting our demographic are kind of that's like one of those really like fast growing sort of bits of television, like things like Big Mouth or BoJack Horseman or stuff like that. Like those are all cartoons that are not made for kids.
The word animation, Jackie Chanimation. Nobody laugh.
I'm still sore about
funny.
At any rate, yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. I don't know very much about it other than that, but yeah, Harley Quinn getting her own show.
Harlequin.
Harley Quinn.
Yeah,
That's the joke.
I know.
Zack Snyder hangs with Deathstroke in a new Justice League behind-the-scenes picture.
Have you seen that photo?
Yeah, we actually got a couple of Deathstroke pictures this week. So
Yeah.
there was, this one was like Zack Snyder sitting with Joe Manganiello, and Joe Manganiello's in his Deathstroke outfit. So they're clearly like filming that post-credit scene. Mm-hmm. And then the other Deathstroke picture that we got, Joe Manganiello posted himself. So it's him with as Deathstroke.
Oh my God, it's
with
so
the mask off.
picture perfect.
It is frighteningly comic accurate.
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
They went that
I mean,
one for one.
I guess I shouldn't be, because like the Batman suit is pretty comic accurate. Wonder Woman's is too.
When Zack Snyder's
Cyborg's
involved, he
is
goes.
too. But
Which is funny because that's something that Marvel tends to really lean away from, is making it like comic accurate.
yeah, with with few exceptions.
Yeah.
What's the deal with that?
What's the deal with Marvel comics?
I'm so struggling to like contribute to
do a Seinfeld voice? It's not hard. Just sound like annoyed and whiny.
I know.
Sound like you all the time.
What's the deal?
Yeah. What's the deal?
Oh, thank God. It's like a weight off my shoulders now. Yeah, we got a couple of very, very cool Deathstroke images, which has... This is going to sound like I'm one of those people, where you see like a tornado like rips through the same town every year. They're like, I guess we'll just rebuild. I kind of feel the same way, because every time a DC movie comes out and there's like some like criticisms or things of it, then I immediately turn it around and be like, I'm still pumped for the next one. And I am. But I'm pretty jazzed about like this potential Deathstroke movie with Gareth Edwards, who did The Raid and stuff like that. I think Joe Manganiello looks awesome. I'm really excited for it.
That's the sound of wine pouring.
Classing it up.
Hey, Doc.
Yeah.
What do you call a fatal masturbation incident?
I don't know.
Deathstroke. Well, everyone loves White Wine Richard.
God, we're doing it.
You could have a whole theme park of that. Everyone loves a Deathstroke.
I thought you were going Wine Richard, and then you went Deathstroke.
Yeah, I did. To the Marineland theme.
My little brother.
Batmobile.
My little brother was in the Marineland commercial.
I feel like you've said this.
I think I have. He's the kid that feeds the deer for all you Canadians out there from Ontario.
Yeah, and if you're wondering why there's a deer at Marineland, so are we.
If you're wondering why that deer's not around, don't ask.
Tom King's new Batman film
don't
to
live that
debut.
long.
Yeah, Tom King said that he's got a brand new, like his first sort of like original brand new Batman villain is coming to the Batman book that he writes.
What villain is this?
We don't know.
We don't know.
But
we looked up and we couldn't find anything.
But the well, no, like it hasn't like fully been revealed.
Yeah.
But the like solicitation for the book mentions that like Bruce kind of comes face to face with like a sort of like a mirrored version of his own past, which I wonder if it means that whoever this villain is, maybe like his parents are shot in an alley, and then he takes a different.
And
path.
His parents also were named Martha.
Why did you say that name? I just rewatched Batman v Superman the other day. It's so good.
Oh my God. I was listening
so
to the Fat Man on Batman podcast the other day.
Yeah.
And it was right before the Justice League movie came out,
Right.
and they was just like, oh, like they were trying to like guess like what happens at the end of it, and Kevin Smith was just like, you find out that everyone's parents' name was Martha,
Steppenwolf's mom's name is Martha.
just every character.
That would be really funny.
Yeah.
Or it comes full circle and they all have the same parents and they're just whiny siblings that keep trying to outdo one another for the love of their dead parents.
DC execs,
Just saying, full circle that
hit
shit.
us up.
But hey, Colin, what happens when you're masturbating and you spin around
And you what?
and you spin around
And you what?
and you spin around?
I don't know.
It's coming full circle.
You have such like a specific genre of humor.
Yeah,
All of your jokes are dick jokes. You know that, right?
I'm a Richard. What can I say?
Nice button.
Oh, new at for you, dick jokes.
That's right.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah.
Just saying. Blue Beetle is canceled.
Yeah.
What a bummer.
Yeah, I mean, it happens. Books come and go. This one was neat because it reintroduced Ted Kord to kind of the Blue Beetle mythology. Jaime Reyes is still a Blue Beetle, is still with the scarab and that like alien suit, but Ted Kord was kind of his mentor, and there was this whole magic element with Dr. Fate in there too. It was a neat book, but it just wasn't like sustaining the sales numbers, and that's what happens.
Hey,
Books
Richard.
get canceled.
Yeah.
What happens when you're masturbating, but you're also in a hurry? You come and go.
Eventually, we're going to narrow my lexicon to like the 6 words I can say that don't lead to a masturbation joke.
No, that's all that's left is racism.
Oh, no. We've come so far. Son of a bitch.
Hey, Colin.
Yes.
What happens when you masturbate on a football field?
What's that?
You come so far.
Hey, Richard, what happens when you masturbate on a plane?
What's that?
You come so far.
What happens when you masturbate on a couch?
What?
You come so far.
I wanted to be upset. But
You're waiting for the R.
yeah, that was good.
I could play that game.
Oh.
I was really hoping you were just going to be really on point with that and be like, you're masturbating on a couch.
No, I'm okay with this. That was good.
There's more news. Green Lantern scriptwriter wants American Gods actor as Jon Stewart.
Yeah. I already forget the guy's name, but the guy who's the lead on American Gods. Yeah, the screenwriter had just like mentioned that he thinks he would make a good Jon Stewart, which does not mean that it's casting. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but yeah, I mean,
Wishful thinking.
That's a sexy ass man, I'll tell you.
he's got the look, and
He knows Josh Gill, but he's
yeah, that's,
Josh,
he's closer to Jon Stewart than
I'm
Josh is,
sorry,
but.
man. It's what it is. Sometimes you get out of control.
You know what? I know you.
What do you guys like think of his acting? Have you guys watched American
Yeah,
Gods?
I
Like,
love
is
I
this
love
guy
American.
solid?
He's super good. Like he's a great actor. I mean, everyone wanted.
He's no
Idris
John
Elba.
C.
I know.
Reilly,
I know.
I'll tell you
He's the
that.
token black guy
Except for
everything.
Tyrese Gibson. He really wanted Tyrese Gibson.
Yeah, I mean, I really wanted Richard Iota, but
Oh, God.
I'm a Green Lantern.
That's Taika Waititi directs Green Lantern Corps. Yeah.
Okay, now I want that. No, if anyone,
DC
then it would be
execs, we know you're always
Waititi.
listening.
Specifically, it'll just be the Gnort.
Yeah. I would bring him in for that.
Yeah,
I
that
see
would work.
yeah.
No. You know, honestly, I've only watched the first few episodes of American Gods, but I think that his acting is super on point. Like,
Yeah.
it can come off a little strong sometimes, like a little overacty.
Right.
Hey,
Is
hey,
that like
Richard.
the material, or is that like him, do you think? Like, as I haven't seen some of the other stuff that he's done. Like, I think he was in like the 100 and some stuff like that.
So
but I
he
haven't
was
seen
in
that.
Austin Land, and he's hilarious in Austin Land.
Okay.
Like, that's actually if you guys haven't seen Austin Land, the premise of it is really ridiculous, but the actual movie itself is very good.
All right.
So he can play a very like brooding hunk easily. So that would be my only concern, is that it just turns into like, look how good this guy looks in the costume, rather than like about the
Yeah,
actual.
because that's actually not really part of Jon Stewart's thing. Jon Stewart's like a ex-military guy. He's very like business, like he's.
But at the same
unlike Hal
time-
Jordan, who's a bit of like a Lothario or
But at the same time, he in American Gods, at least in the first few episodes, it's a very serious, strong character. My only problem is like I don't know if I necessarily want a Green Lantern that goes either direction. Like I don't want like this like overacty or this over serious. It's Green Lantern, so it's sci-fi-y. So like I don't know.
But it's also like cop too. So yeah, I can maybe see like maybe American Gods is like kind of the right sort of like proving ground for it if you're trying to balance these like cosmic things with like an actual mystery or something like that.
Yeah, I'm definitely curious. Let us know on Twitter what you guys think of. His name is Ricky Whittle.
Okay, yeah. And if you have different castings you'd like to see, let us know those too. I'm interested.
So if you're interested in him playing it, say, "Give me a Whittle."
And if you're not, say, then give me a walk.
No. If you're not, a whittle less.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. Give me a whittle or a whittle less.
Do you think when he was younger, his dad called him Whittle Ricky?
No, that's what teachers call him on the first day of school when they're reading the sort of last name.
Oh, Whittle Ricky. Oh, God, that just goes back to my childhood.
Quick. Next news.
Speaking of my childhood.
Suicide Squad director regrets ever releasing the movie.
That's not what it says.
Regrets not making Joker the main bad guy. See also releasing movie.
Yeah.
What do you think of Joker being the villain for Suicide Squad?
I think he should be.
I think he should. I 100% agree with you.
Because you know what's a great Suicide Squad movie is that animated Assault on Arkham.
Mm-hmm.
And technically, the Joker's not. I mean, so here's the thing in that movie: Joker's not necessarily like the bad guy. The Suicide Squad isn't sent in to beat him. Amanda Waller's kind of the bad guy, actually.
Which I kind of love that even more. But
but Joker gets like released in the course of them invading Arkham and just completely like throws the plan off kilter, which is kind of what happens in that movie. But he's really the one they end up against. There's a whole big like Deadshot Joker fight scene in that movie. It's pretty cool. And I think just from, we know how much the Joker was in like the promo material and like the trailers and that. I think that's maybe what we expected in Suicide Squad is that they were going on a mission.
That's really what I thought.
Joker gets in the way and then the mission is kind of secondary to like, can we survive the Joker?
So one of the things that the director has also been kind of berated with lately is actually I think since he even said that was that there was too much Joker in Suicide Squad. So either this was a response to that or he's responding to this, to the feedback from this.
But if Joker's not the main villain, then maybe there was too much of it.
And I could agree with
if he
that.
wasn't that vital to the story, then
because he really was almost not in it at all. He was just in it to have him in it. And I don't know if I don't think it added anything to the story at all. Yeah. She could have just been like pining for a Joker that she missed, and it could never have been included.
And say what you will about whether or not you like Jared Leto's take on it, but that would have been, I think, either way, a more compelling villain than the Enchantress ended up being.
Mm-hmm.
Like that. It's not necessarily like Cara Delevingne's fault, but this idea of just like you're just like a 6,000-year-old witch who literally has no connection to the modern world and is just going to destroy it all just because. Like, that's not that compelling, but, like, the Joker has sort of these, like, he doesn't necessarily just want to, like, burn everything down. He wants to do it in a way that is, like, he gets enjoyment out of things, too, right? Like, the Enchantress was just, like, all business. Like, we'll tear this world down because they forgot about us.
Yes.
But, like, I think the Joker probably would have been more compelling as an antagonist. Mm-hmm. Or at least as that, like...
But I don't think I wanted any more of that Joker, though, because...
Well, I know you didn't like it, yeah.
No, I don't know. We've tried to look around too many times already, but I just think that Joker, I don't know if that works in a long form. Or maybe finally we'll give Jared Leto the opportunity to actually be the Joker that he intended to be, or that was cut out, or whatever. Yeah. Because, I mean, he speaks constantly about how the fact that it's like... That's
they
not
filmed enough that you could have like made a movie.
Yeah, exactly. Because my biggest issue with that is like you're not really seeing the Joker that you think of when you think of the Joker. You're just seeing like the Joker go two ways. If you were talking about a real world Joker, if that was an actual character in the real world, he's either going to go to the way that he was portrayed in the Dark Knight movies, or he's going to go this. Because like if somebody actually was trying to be that villain in real life, it's probably the two ways that you could get somebody who is animated like that.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me why they went that direction, because it's just like, oh, somebody who wants to be like that. That's why
something different too.
Why it's why most of the animated shows are like done in the 40s and the 50s and the 30s and stuff like that.
They have a different aesthetic
because it works for that style of Joker. Like that style of Joker really works in that with a pinstripe suit and that type of thing.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about like modern day, well, you can't. That type of Joker wouldn't exist. That type of person wouldn't come out of the
true,
woodworks,
because
right?
even like the Michael Keaton Batman, where Jack Nicholson was the Joker, has a very like 40s like Art Deco kind of look to it.
Because that's really the only way that you could even.
I know Art Deco was a bit before the 40s, but
yeah, I know 30s, but yeah, 20s,
more 20s.
Yeah. Anyways, that it made sense to me. I just thought it wasn't Jokery, like his personality wasn't Jokery.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're past. Like, we'll never really find out, but
it's not like they're gonna fix it.
It's
but like,
interesting that David Ayer actually said this though, because he was one of those like very vocal, almost like to the point of
too
like,
vocal,
like he's up, about like defending his film and how the Suicide Squad, like he was the one where they showed a trailer for Suicide Squad at some convention that he was like, "Fuck Marvel," like, bro,
that's
like,
right,
come on.
yeah,
let's not do this. This is the one advantage, though, that Colin has over us in terms of DC Comics, is that he's never had to watch Suicide Squad.
That's very true.
Should I just keep never watching that movie?
Yeah, I don't think it hurts.
Pretty much.
I don't think it helps you in any way.
At a certain point, if you want to watch it to like make fun of certain things, I think you could do that. And there are some performances that are worthwhile in it, but
maybe
you also have to watch other things to watch those. So you have to kind of weigh.
If we ever get on Patreon, maybe we'll do a commentary.
Yeah. Well, I would do that if people were paying me.
Right?
Yeah.
And one last bit of news.
Let's do it.
Kevin Conroy wants an animated Justice League reunion.
Yeah, so this has been going around online. It's not just Kevin Conroy. I think it's also like Susan Eisenberg, who voiced Wonder Woman, and a few other people that they're trying to get people to use the hashtag, I think it's JL Reunion, to bring back the voice cast from the Justice League cartoon from the early 2000s to do like an animated movie and maybe bring Andrea Romano out of retirement to direct one last thing.
And they're going to sneak Ragman in there.
Hey, you never know. There were lots of like weird characters that ended up on that show. Like they did a bit called Justice League Unlimited. They did like 2 or 3 seasons of that, and it basically opened up the league to all of these characters. There was like Metamorpho and Aztec and The Question and Shining Knight and like all sorts of like weird characters kind of got time in the limelight. Like Stargirl and Stripe and things like that. So yeah, if you are interested in that, please use the hashtag JL Reunion, because I think they're trying to gauge like interest and things like that, but to try and like push this thing forward. But I think it would be awesome. That was a great show with an awesome cast and some really like well told comic book stories.
Well, that's right. I mean, he just recently put out a tweet that basically said, I've spoken with Susan Seinberg, and she told me if we wanted a Justice League animated movie with the original cast, we need to let WB know. So tweet at WB Home Entertainment with the hashtag JL Reunion. Also, Andrea Romano will even come out of retirement to direct it,
which would be huge. Yeah, so please, everyone listening, do that. Let's make it happen, or let's help make it happen. It won't just be us, but.
So this week's theme is Immortality.
Yep. Which we've already achieved.
After 20,
having created a podcast, yes,
on the internet, we're in a way immortal, possibly irrelevant, but definitely immortal. Yeah, I thought it might be kind of fun to talk about those characters who either constantly cheat or are actually like immune to or exempt from death.
Very exciting.
It's the opposite of the death episode we did.
Yes.
Death episode.
Yes.
So we're going to go over to Twitter. Chad Bokelman.
Bogle.
We both know Green Lantern is awesome, but let's talk about the Immortals who started it all.
Take a shot.
The Maltusians. Psy, and all offshoots.
Yeah. So the...
Wait, why are we taking a shot?
Because,
Oh God, are we playing the thing? We're so far behind already. Probably.
Yes, because of the Dr. DC drinking game.
Right. What's this one?
If we take
It's 2 shots for.
is it?
Bokeman,
Oh
yeah.
God, that's what they call him. 2 shots, Bokeman.
Stop saying his name. Oh no, it's just if we read a question.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're playing the home game,
If you're playing the Dr. DC podcast drinking game, which is up on our website, and we posted it earlier.
Twitter
this
too,
week.
probably. Yeah.
Then I'm so sorry.
Yeah. I'm so sorry, but you're going to be drunk
If
already.
any of you survive, tweet at us.
Yes.
Hashtag.
Hashtag blah 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 because you're so drunk.
Yeah, just BL.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the Maltusians, when we talk about the Green Lantern Corps, I think I've mentioned like the Guardians of the Universe. They're kind of
Guardians of the Universe. That sounds familiar.
wow. They came first. No, damn it! God damn it! So the Guardians of the Universe,
Yeah, Richard.
are like they're like the captains.
What happens when I have
of
any
the
intimate
precinct.
time with a wife?
What's that?
I come first.
They're like the captains in the intergalactic precinct of the Green Lantern Corps. If you would imagine someone who's like your gun and your badge on my desk, it would be the Guardians of the Universe. They're these immortal,
Yeah, there's a tree guy and
no.
a raccoon.
There are these immortal beings who were the first ones to like harness the
badger.
power of the green light of willpower.
Shut up!
and
You've never even
create-
seen it.
And create the Green Lantern Corps. We talked about them before because they were the ones who, before they made the Green Lantern Corps, they made those Manhunter robots, and they were like, "Hey, emotionless robots, they'll figure out."
Yeah,
how to
they're
be law
called
enforcement."
the Iron People.
It's no, shut up. So they made the Manhunters, and that went horribly, and then they made the Green Lantern Corps, and that to some success. But basically, like 10 billion years ago, they all just occupied this planet called Maltus, and they may be the first like
Leonard Maltus.
intelligent life in the universe. But basically, over time, one of them named Krona did what you're not supposed to do, and got a glimpse of the moment of creation, like the creation of the universe, which you're not supposed to do.
Oh,
because
you
it
spoke
causes
about this
problems.
on the last episode or the one before that.
Yeah, and basically, from that point on, the Maltusians kind of fractured a little bit. So some of them went off and became the Guardians, and they went to the planet Oa, and then they're the ones that we know that made the Manhunters and eventually made the Green Lantern Corps, etc., etc. Some other ones called the Zamarons went to the planet Zamaron, and they became like the sort of progenitors of the Star Sapphires, which is a different color of the emotional spectrum. There's another sort of splinter group called the Controllers, and they, instead of either, trying to protect and preserve order in the universe or just being withdrawn from it, like the Zamarons, they wanted to sort of, if you can imagine, the Controllers wanted to control. They created a different like peacekeeping / like military force called the Dark Stars, and actually, while there wasn't a Green Lantern Corps, a bunch of like characters were members of the Dark Stars for a bit. I don't know where the Controllers stand in sort of current continuity, but they were also sort of fractured off these Maltusians. But basically, they're like billions and billions of years old. Most of them were like blue-skinned originally. The Guardians still are. But they're not immortal. I think this is going to come up in these questions a few times. But like the word immortal, I think just means like you cannot die.
Yeah, that's usually what that word means.
Well, but what I mean is they will live forever if you don't kill them.
Huh?
Like they're eternal.
So like Superman is immortal unless you kill him with kryptonite.
Precisely.
Oh, that's bullshit. That's not immortality then. That's like
Well, but that's what I mean. I
just
think
having superpowers
we're using the word immortality. It's not always going to be technically what we're actually talking about. So the Guardians
All right, fine.
and the Maltusians are part of this eternal kind of race, but they can be killed. We've seen them killed before, sometimes very gruesomely, sometimes in a big explosion or whatever. As with many comic books, often some of them will find a way to come back, but yeah, they are possibly the first intelligent life forms in the universe. Although, as we know, they're very good at like deceiving people and hiding secrets. They said for like decades that Oa was the center of the universe when of course it was Earth, which we found out during Blackest Night. So they may also...
And then we found out that it was actually the sun, thanks to Galileo.
Apparently not. And that was Copernicus too.
Whatever. Well, it was Galileo. Didn't he figure that shit out and go to jail for it? Like jail.
Galileo was proving that the Earth was round, wasn't it?
I think you might be wrong. You might want to look it up.
This isn't called the Dr. Science podcast.
I just watched Batman v Superman, and Neil deGrasse Tyson in that movie says Copernicus restored the sun to the center of like the known universe. So I'm going to go with Neil deGrasse Tyson on this. At any rate, that's a little bit about the Maltusians, and since we know that they hide a lot of secrets, it's entirely possible that they aren't actually the first intelligent life in the universe. But that's what they would like you to think.
Hey, Richard, for the longevity of our masturbation jokes, you have to look that up for me. That's a science fact that I need to know for sure.
Okay.
Please and thank you. Dave Rossi says... Captain Marvel is referred to as Earth's mightiest mortal, but Black Adam, who's been around for thousands of years, gets his power from the same source. Does that mean Captain Marvel is immortal as well as long as he doesn't revert to Billy Batson?
Yeah, so technically, actually, Black Adam doesn't get necessarily his powers from the same source. They both call down the lightning, like say Shazam, get their powers, but Black Adam actually gets his from 6 like Egyptian gods, and then Shazam or Captain Marvel, whatever you want to call him, even though his name's Shazam now. He gets his from mostly like Greco-Roman pantheon. But yeah, he's Earth's mightiest mortal. But because his powers are like magically granted, when he's in his like Shazam form, he's got this like, sort of magic body, and Black Adam basically stayed as Black Adam in like the magic body for like 5,000 years. And if he says Shazam, and this has happened in the comic books, does like the instant like his age catches up with him kind of thing. It's like the Dorian Gray thing where it like all like undoes itself and he like rapidly ages and dies. And there have been comics where like Billy Batson as Shazam looks unchanged, but then when he reverts back, you see that Billy has been aging. And I wish I could remember where I saw this or read it. I cannot think of where this was, but there's some issue somewhere where Shazam or Captain Marvel basically like alludes to the fact that like Billy died like a while ago.
Oh, Billy.
But like he's
been dead for 7 years.
Yeah.
Well, we haven't seen a Billy around here for 20 years.
Because he's dead.
But he stayed in the Shazam form, and so as long as he stays in that form, he continues to live. But if he were to say Shazam and revert back, then death would catch up with him. So both Black Adam and Shazam are mortals because they can... I mean, they can be killed, like someone can kill them, but also like as soon as they stop using that magic, or if like their access to that magic was cut off or whatever, then death would catch up with them and they would die like anyone else would. So
how does Shazam find out that Shazam was the word?
I think it depends. Like, there's a few different like.
Did the kid go to like a magic show and somebody was just like, "No, say Shazam"? And
no, like the original idea is that the wizard's name is Shazam, and he gives Billy the powers and says, "Just like call my name, and you get the powers." Okay. But now the wizard is just referred to pretty much as the wizard.
If you need me, call me.
Not all the time.
No, you fucked up. It's fine.
Don't worry, baby.
Michael McDonald, the real wizard. How did you get those jams so smooth?
Also, Galileo. He discovered 4 of the moons circling Jupiter to study Saturn, to observe the phases of Venus, and to study sunspots on the sun. Galileo's observations strengthened his belief in Copernicus's theory that the Earth and all other planets revolve the sun.
Copernicus. Right. Boom.
But Galileo suffered massively.
I mean, he was a scientist in that time of the period.
Well, yeah, he was
arguing that.
He was imprisoned for a long time because he challenged some priest or some bullshit pope. Whatever, doesn't matter. Moving on to emails.
Basically, the long story short for Dave is yes, Captain Marvel or Shazam
Dave's not here, man.
is only immortal as long as he doesn't revert to being Billy Batson. As soon if he
get one.
if he stayed as Shazam for like 90 years and then said Shazam, he'd probably die.
Oh.
So now we're going to go to emails.
Let's do it.
Holly Ermanure? Is
That's what it looks like.
that your manure?
Holly Ollie Oxenfree.
Yeah. Can you explain the connection between the Immortal Man and Vandal Savage? They got their powers at the same time, but they're different from each other.
Vandal Savage sounds like a wrestler from the 90s.
Doesn't he?
Yeah.
So Vandal Savage is arguably the
Apparently
better-
Goldberg's going to be on either Legend of Tomorrow or The Flash.
That makes sense, though, because they already had, what was his name? Edge was
That's right.
Atom Smasher.
That's right.
A couple of seasons ago on The Flash.
Anyways, digress.
Yeah, so Vandal Savage is the more like well-known character of those two. So Vandal Savage was a caveman, 50,000 years ago, and this meteor crashes and it kind of bathes him in this radiation that not only enhances his like intellect and like kind of his physical strength, sort of like rapidly evolves him a little bit, but it also actually grants him immortality. Vandal Savage cannot die. And lives forever and stays like forever young. So throughout,
Ever young.
that's the one. So throughout time, like he was Genghis Khan, and he was like there when the pyramids were built, and he's kind of been this like sort of shadowy figure through history. But it's always been him because he literally cannot die. The Immortal Man is kind of like a villain or not a villain, sorry. Like his archenemy. The Immortal Man was also a caveman at the exact same time, and they were rivals back then. But instead of sort of being bathed in the radiation of the meteor, he kind of takes a piece and wears it as like an amulet. And he gets slightly different powers. It did sort of like evolve him as well. But the Immortal Man actually dies all the time.
It's not a very great name.
But when he dies, he's instantly brought back to life as someone new.
Hey, guess what my name is? The Immortal Man. Guess what my powers are?
Dying all the time.
No, I've just got laser eyes. Jeez.
Yeah. So the Immortal Man, every time he dies, he instantly comes back as someone else. He's not like born as a baby.
He's like he's like Buddhist man.
He just becomes like a new person at a different point in their life. And so he retains knowledge from like lifetime to lifetime, but he's technically like a new person each time.
Oh wait, what's the name of that? You know how they always have like in Buddhism they always have like the god goes into like different like people all the time, and they're always trying to find the new child that has like the.
Well, that's like the whole thing with the whole Dalai Lama.
Dalai Lama, yeah. So he's kind of the Dalai Lama.
I mean, I don't think I know enough about Buddhism to say that definitively, but I guess there's some sort of.
You know what? I'm 4 glasses of wine in, so I'm going to say this definitively.
I'm so into Buddhism right now.
So
Into the bottom of this bottle.
But yeah, so the connection is that meteor. Both of them get their powers, their abilities from this like radioactive meteor that crashed in, caveman days. But yeah, the difference is Vandal Savage is just Vandal Savage and cannot be killed. The Immortal Man can and is frequently killed, but will always come back. During the original Crisis on Infinite Earths, the Immortal Man actually used that immortality power and sort of like unleashed it to help try and like save the day. And then he didn't show up for a while in comics, but he's actually back now. We've seen the Immortal Man in this recent Metal storyline. And there's a book coming out called The Immortal Men that involves like the multiple sort of immortals of the DC universe. But yeah, they were rivals for a long time, the Immortal Man and Vandal Savage. And then kind of after the Immortal Man was presumably permanently dead, Mitch Shelley, the Resurrection Man, who we've talked about before, kind of filled that void. But Mitch Shelley gets his powers from Tektites. They're like little machines that rebuild him and give him a different superpower each time based on how he died. So the Resurrection
Yes, I do remember that, yeah. Resurrection
Man is slightly different from the Immortal Man, but the way that their like immortality works is basically the same. They die and then come back.
You happy with yourself?
Yeah.
Okay, good. We're going to go over to Facebook. Adam Upper says, in reality, don't all comic book characters have immortality?
Well, yeah, he's making the point that I made at the top of this like segment, which is like, they're on the printed page, ergo, they shall never be forgotten.
They shall live forever.
And you know what? He's got a point. And certainly in the cases of like the big...
Well, and the fact that like they
characters of comic books.
continue to print them at the same age all the time forever.
They do. But even if you just take like those things that are sort of...
Unless you're Batman, and then they love to just old age him out and kill him. And
But you know, like that Superman symbol, there was some study that was like, it's like the second most recognizable just symbol like in the world. Like everyone knows.
which is weird
basically
because
what that
if you asked
symbol
me to
is.
draw it, I don't think I could probably do it.
The Superman symbol?
Yeah, I know it's like a triangle with an S inside of
It's
it.
more
But
like a diamond shape.
yeah, see? Look, I already fucked it up.
Fucking idiot.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. Well, I'm going to beat myself tonight.
I think Adam's got a point because those things are like, yeah, they've sort of entered our like pop culture consciousness. People all over the world know who Spider-Man is.
Yeah, he does whatever a spider can.
Yeah, exactly. And I think in a way, yes.
What do spiders do?
Well, they spin a web anytime.
Catches these just like flies. Look
Oh,
out.
yeah. Just like Spider-Man.
Usually they just crawl up bathtub drains and piss me off.
Usually they get put into a napkin and thrown outside of that.
Yeah. I usually just drown them.
There's a lot, or you just put a glass on them and then wait 4 weeks and then you go to move it and they're still alive somehow.
No, I just do that. When I was a kid, I used to do the like cleaning spray on them.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cruel.
Yeah. I didn't know.
I'm not a fan of spiders.
No. Doc, don't look on your shoulder.
If you want any of this equipment to survive, you won't do that.
Don't look.
I will straight burn this room to the ground.
So, our very handsome friend Josh Gill says,
So handsome. Sorry, what?
Oh, handsome American Josh Gill.
What separate an immortal like the Guardians?
Separates, I'm assuming.
Oh, yeah, sorry. What separates an immortal like the Guardians, Vandal Savage, and the Wizard Shazam from beings like the New Gods or the Spectre? Is there a difference? And he also asks, why is it that some immortals can be killed like the Guardians, Ra's al Ghul, etc., and some can't, Vandal Savage, Phantom Stranger, etc.? I think you kind of dialed that one in.
Well, we talked about it a little bit, yeah. So
let's talk about it a little more,
Well,
shall
but I
we?
mean, we're using the word immortal very like loosely. Some of these characters are technically not immortal. So the ones that can be killed, like the Guardians, they're like eternal. They'll live forever. But you can, like, if you murder them, kill them. Even the Wizard, who gives Shazam his powers, he dies in Day of Vengeance. The Spectre kills him. Pretty like brutally too, actually. And after he dies, Billy Batson as Captain Marvel at the time, that's what he was called, has to sit on the Rock of Eternity and sort of become the new Wizard, because that Wizard was killed.
Is Rock of Eternity the sequel to Rock of Ages?
Yeah. The Rock of Eternity is like where that like magic power comes from, and it's at the center of the multiverse.
It's when you play a riff so good.
Yeah.
It lives on forever.
They'll never forget it.
That's right.
It reverberates onto infinity.
Yeah, it's got to be just that hitting that one note at the beginning of Rock You Like a Hurricane, right? Like
It's actually a new Jack Black movie coming out.
it would be actually.
Yeah, no, of course.
It totally would be. Yeah.
I would go see that movie.
Right?
Now, we know the New Gods can be killed because Batman kills Darkseid in Final Crisis. He shoots him, which is like the ultimate like Batman turnaround.
With a gun?
Yeah, he shoots him with a gun and kills Darkseid. But there are characters that cannot die. So we've talked about Vandal Savage. I've just offhand mentioned the Spectre. Now, the Spectre can't die because the Spectre is like a piece of God himself. He's like the spirit of God's vengeance. So he takes a human host. That host can be, is killed before, like they're always undead kind of, but that host can be like severed from the Spectre and like returned to the grave, or like that spirit can finally move on. But the Spectre itself cannot be killed. The same thing is kind of true of the Phantom Stranger. His body was killed in the New 52 by the Question using the Spear of Destiny.
It's the Spear of Destiny.
Well, the Spear of Destiny, that's the thing that it's meant to be
it's a squire.
the Spear of Destiny is meant to be the spear that like pierces the side of Jesus when he's on the cross.
Jesus.
It was like a key part of Legends of Tomorrow last season. But at any rate, the Phantom Stranger's body was kind of killed there, but he was like immediately brought back like from
like three days later, maybe.
A little quicker, actually. So
Richard knows all about that.
I think those characters like Phantom Stranger and the Spectre, they kind of are imbued with like an aspect of God. So it's safe to assume that no matter what you do to them, you can't like kill them. Vandal Savage has been quote unquote killed quite a few times, but he always comes back. There's no evidence that he can be permanently dispatched yet. He's survived quite a bit. I don't know what makes that difference. And it's hard to tell too in comic books because there are characters who can definitively die, but because it's a comic book, they'll resurrect them somehow. So then you have to argue, like, well, maybe this is Adam's point too. Is every character immortal? But I think definitely if you get your power from like that spiritual realm, there's a way bigger likelihood that you are legitimately immortal and not just like eternal. There are lots of characters who are eternal or long-lived or things like that, but who are relatively easily dispatched. But I think if you've got God on your side, you're probably gonna make it.
Yeah, you can become a president even. Anytime I see Phantom Stranger, I think Phantom
is a god. That is the most depressing sentence ever.
Yeah. Anytime I see Phantom Stranger, I always think Phantom Planet.
I always think of like a ghost jerk off.
Yeah, I know. This came up the last time Phantom Stranger came up too.
Gross.
I give him the Phantom Stranger.
I'm so surprised that
Why is it
anything.
It's when you sit on your hand and then chop it off, and then you masturbate.
Oh Jesus.
And mine was much cuter because Jason Schwartzman was the drummer from Phantom Planet.
Oh, it was a great band.
Jason Schwartzman was in a band?
Yeah, isn't that? Yeah,
it's kind of like how Fred Armisen.
Do you remember the OC?
Yeah.
Do you remember the theme song? Yeah, California. That's Phantom Planet.
He's the drummer.
He's the drummer on
that.
that.
California.
Here we come.
I mean, I don't remember the OC. I didn't watch that show.
I didn't watch every episode.
I like how many actors and comedians were actually like musicians as well.
Oh my god. Oh, Marissa. Doc, you're such a Seth.
Oh god, I hope not.
Are you talking about you're a dork? You're
Seth.
certainly not anybody else.
I wanted to be Ben McKenzie's character.
I know you wanted to be Summer. It's okay.
I want to be Sandy. I want to be the cool dad.
Oh yeah, who plays blues?
Yeah.
Yeah, you would want.
Yeah, we've never seen this
but
show.
That's not going to happen. Shane Webb has a really cool question.
Yeah.
I like this one a lot.
Let's hit it.
If you could, which character would you take immortality away from? And given the nature of comics, where even the dead return, perpetually giving them a type of immortality, who would you grant death to? That's an amazing question.
That is a good question.
Way to go, Shane Webb.
I kind of want to turn this like on you guys first. I know you don't necessarily like have like the full catalog of characters at your disposal, but we've talked about a lot on this podcast. So like, Colin, who would you... Let's do the second half one. Who's a character that you think has like earned death, like
Superman.
permadeath? Okay, but not... Okay, is this just because you don't like him?
Yes.
I should have known. Okay, so not for like a story reason, just because you don't like him, you would just kill Superman.
He's just dead.
You don't think he's like important?
No.
Okay. Richard.
Hey, what's up?
Is there a character that you think has like earned death that you think maybe from like a narrative perspective?
Yeah.
Not just like petty vengeance.
I think I've mentioned this before, but
Petty when it's vengeance.
I think I've mentioned it before, but Superman.
Yes.
Right.
I'll admit it. I mean, I've mentioned it before.
I'm okay with it because you have a rationale.
Yes, I do. I think
He's been alive way too long.
For me, I never get enough from
Like,
the character.
give the guy his pink slip. He's due for retirement, I think.
I would love to see like put him in the Disney vault, bring him back later.
No. That's not this question. This question isn't who do you bring back later. This is who do you kill permanently?
Literally to death.
permanently.
This character will never come back.
They will be super dead.
Okay.
Which, I mean, like, rationally will never happen, but let's imagine that this is like an edict from on high. Whoever you kill in this moment will never be brought back.
I can see the headline now. Super dead, Superman.
So insensitive.
Article written by Colin Close. Actually, it's just the headline.
Such an insensitive article.
It's just a picture of him dead in the headline.
So do you still want Superman dead if he never comes back?
Mr. Freeze.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
you.
Reasoning?
I just think that the concept of that character is a
Cool
little
party.
outlandish for like
Chill out.
even
You want to kill that guy? Come on.
no.
That
Arnold
guy's fun
Schwarzenegger
at
can live
parties.
forever. But
service that delivers. Wow.
I think the concept of that character is cool. I just think that the delivery of that character constantly is kind of, it seems disconnected from the rest of the Batman universe.
You're wrong.
He does kind of only have one thing to do, which is like
Make everyone laugh with great
save
puns.
his wife, which he continually does do.
So I think that like a great way to get rid of him forever would just be to like have him like come to terms with his wife, kill himself, and then have it be over.
Jesus, that's dark.
I mean, it is dark, but like that would be an interesting story.
You want to say that to Liam Neeson too for all the Taken movies? Get over it.
I've finally gotten over my wife. It's time to join her in heaven.
Oh no!
They're like,
And then just off in
we've
the
taken
distance,
your
you just hear
daughter
like,
again, and he's like, "Fuck sakes."
Oh, I'm such a bad parent.
Oh my god. It says more about me than it does about you.
it goes to black, and you just hear like,
I should have prepared.
it's time for me to cool down.
Chill.
No,
I need to chill out.
Liam Neeson as Mr. Freeze.
I've got to heat this party up, and then he's dead that way.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Interesting. I think. Okay, so if there's a character I could take immortality away from,
I thought about it.
I thought about.
oh no, that was good. That was good.
Thank you.
I think if I was just going to take immortality away from a character, I think it would be Superman. I don't love the idea that like Superman. Sorry, I'm saying immortality. I mean like that he could perpetually just live eternally. As much fun as JLA 1 million is, where you go into what is like the 853rd century and he's been in the sun for thousands of years. As much fun as that was,
He looks like Hulk Hogan, just orange and leathery.
yeah. It's so tanned. It just that's too. You know how you were complaining last week, Colin, that like Superman's too powerful. That to me is when he's too powerful. When he doesn't just have like a normal life cycle. I kind of don't mind that he can move a planet as long as like 70 years from now he's in the ground. But when he can move a planet and never fucking die, then like he's a little too powerful for me to find like narratively interesting. But that doesn't mean I want to kill him. It just means I don't want him to live forever. Who would I grant death to?
I want to learn how to fly.
Nice. Do you know who
I
I would?
was thinking Oasis, actually.
Oh.
Do you know who I would want to give death to? Because I think they've earned it, and it would make me sad,
Stroke?
like as a reader of comics, to not see this character again. But I think they've been through enough.
Gnort.
Hawkman and Hawkgirl.
Yeah.
I mean,
an eternity of like.
It would make me so sad because I do love reading those characters, but both from the perspective of like people keep fucking them up, like keep like messing up their history and like they need constant retcons, but also that they themselves are constantly reincarnated, fall in love, and are killed, and then reincarnated and then fall in love and then are killed over and over and over. It's so tragic. It would be nice to give them like a final heroic exit and bid adieu. Doesn't mean that we can't have a different version of the Hawks, but I think that Carter Hall, like Shira or like Kendra Saunders version, I think those ones I'd be interested in seeing them get like a proper, like tastefully done permanent death.
I also kind of think that it'd been cool. Just, and again, based on the one story alone, Killing Time at the end had Joker died. And then like,
Killing Joke, yeah.
Like, because he suffers so much in that, like so much.
That version of the Joker you do kind of feel for, which is an insane thing to say, but but because they actually give you a bit of a history on him.
Like his wife dies and she's pregnant, and it's just like, oh god.
I mean, it would have been better for everyone if he had died and not become the Joker. Yeah, including him. Yeah. Would you ever like want to kill the Joker like permanently? Like Batman needs a new arch enemy. Have we ever gotten to that point where we feel like that is too
I don't know, I'm
played out?
I'm good with like this whole Batman retiring thing, like the way that
Batman Beyond.
just like the Wonder Years, the golden years.
Yeah.
I don't know what you call it, but like there's gotta come a time where it's like Batman has like his piece as well, and I think that the Joker has to die for that to happen.
Well, yeah, Batman. I don't think Batman would be comfortable in retirement knowing that the Joker's out there. Even in the animated universe, they killed the Joker. And
They play bridge together. They're just like retirement home buddies.
no, like Tim Drake as Robin is like captured, and the Joker tries to make him into like a Joker and kind of breaks his mind. And then Batman finally finds him to go to save him, and Tim has this like mental snap, and he shoots the Joker and kills him. That Joker dies, and then Batman gets to grow old and retire as Batman, and then into Batman Beyond and things like that.
I just don't see that like Batman can't exist without Joker. Like it feels like a package deal.
Right.
I feel at this point,
Yeah.
I feel like like Joker is as attached to Batman as Alfred is.
Yep.
So
No, I agree. I wouldn't want to see him permanently dead. I was just wondering if, like, in the way that, like, we get kind of tired of, you know, Superman being sort of all powerful. If we had
Lois
reached a
Lane
point
could
with-
die, I'd be okay with that.
Oh, really? I like Lois.
Yeah, but think of what would happen to
Yeah, but
Superman.
We've been there though. That's
Yeah.
like Injustice and
She's on a timeline already. She's just a human. Like, calm down.
Kingdom Come is also that. Like we've been down the what happens to Supes when Lois dies road. I think.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Honestly, for me, like the only thing I can think of is again like characters who've already died, and like you could get rid of them, but like Hawkman and Hawkgirl, I get like that they've been through so much, but at the same time, like you're just getting rid of one generation. Are you talking about a permanent?
Yeah.
Like you don't get those characters back anymore, and then they don't get to revive, and like. So that would be an interesting like trade for sure, like to see them finally like get peace and they don't have to like come back anymore.
Yeah, well, that's what kind of what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah. So I like that idea. Otherwise, I mean, you're just getting rid of characters for the sake of just like not having to write them anymore, and like
I do think that a lot of people would say like Barry Allen because Wally West was the Flash for so long after Barry died in Crisis, and bringing him back, and like they kind of zhuzhed Barry's story a little bit by having like Reverse Flash go back in time and kill his mom, but we've already been through that whole cycle where he tried to save her and then he realized he shouldn't. Like you could maybe make the argument that Barry is not as compelling of a Flash as Wally is, and now that we've got Wally back, like maybe you can kill Barry.
The problem is with a TV show, people are going to want Barry.
Well, yeah, and then like that was a big push, was to bring back some of these like classic Silver Age characters, which is why he came back and Hal came back. But like from a story perspective, that's probably one of the easier ones to do. You could just kill Barry and not too much changes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's true. But at that point, you're just kind of like, is that
you're
even
just doing it?
Yeah.
So we're going to transition slowly over to Reddit.
So slowly.
Hey, it's Brody. Asks,
Hey, it's Brody, because that just sounds like you're saying, hey, it's Brody, like they wrote that.
It's Brody. Okay. Does a superhero ever get to retire? Yes. See, this is what I'm talking
Just
about.
wait for this question. You're not going to believe where it goes.
Oh, God. What?
Just keep reading.
Where do they go when they retire? Do they get benefits? Do they just blend into society like some kind of witness protection program? Do they mow their own lawns or hire that workout to neighborhood kids? Do they agree with all of the bylaws set forth by their homeowners association? If they see a crime in progress, are they obligated to put the cape back on? Can they commit suicide if they get tired of immortality? Okay. Hey, it's Brody. I like you.
I figured you'd like. I thought you'd enjoy that.
Hey, DC execs. Hey, it's Brody, and I have some ideas.
Hey, it's Brody is like channeling Colin in this question.
I've been channeled on Reddit.
So there's like,
I know it's not you because I know you've never been on Reddit before.
there's like 11.
I've used Reddit to
Read it.
Can we bleep
Oh.
this next bit out?
Me too.
Why? Why do we need to bleep out?
Oh, I've totally downloaded episodes of Rick and Morty off of.
Oh, that's not me too.
That's
Never
definitely
mind.
not what Richard was thinking.
Oh, okay.
You've never had to click yes, I'm that old.
Huh?
It's okay. It's okay.
What is Reddit? I
You
thought
must
it
have
was
been
just
so
like
disappointed with our Earth porn.
Very disappointing. I also hate that when you hit the like miscellaneous, like randomize, it's never R-rated. It's never like 18 plus. Yeah,
No, it wouldn't be.
it's unfortunate.
There's like 11 questions in here. Some of them are very, very quick. Like, do superheroes get to retire? Yeah, lots have tried. And
Wait. Yes, they do, or yes, lots have tried, and so the answer is no.
well, no. Do they get to? Yes. Does it stick? Not necessarily.
Watchmen.
So, well, let's talk about Watchmen because that's a very specific type of retirement. That's a forced retirement. In the Watchmen universe, the Keene Act is put through, and that forces masked vigilantes to either reveal their identities and work for the government or to hang up their capes because otherwise the law enforcement will go after them and find them.
Did anybody point out how much The Incredibles kind of played off of that?
A lot of things have, though, because even in the main DC continuity, they played with that idea with the Justice Society, which were like the war era heroes, and they basically tied that into like a McCarthyism kind of thing that they were sort of forced out of the hero game. But yeah, so in Watchmen, they're forced into retirement. Of course, Rorschach doesn't go along with it and does his thing.
Surprise,
anyway.
surprise.
But Night Owl does, Ozymandias does, Silk Spectre does, the comedian works for the government. Dr. Manhattan works for the government. So that there's a forced retirement in there for some of them. But again, even in the case of Watchmen, it doesn't stick because as soon as Rorschach starts on his mask killer investigation, he relatively easily ropes Night Owl and Silk Spectre back into the fold. And we learn that Ozymandias has, been working on things the whole time, not on the heroic side. So they're all kind of brought back into that world because of those actions. So this kind of ties to the later question, which is like, are you obligated to put the cape back on? I'd argue that you kind of are. Do they just blend into society? Sometimes they do. Some of them try and have a normal life. In Kingdom Come, when Superman retires, he moves to Kansas and just like is living on a farm. In some cases, like Jay Garrick has just been like, he's tried to be like basically like an adoptive grandfather to like the Flash family. There's a really good, I think, answer to a bunch of these questions, though, that I want to talk about. And it involves Starman, which is a character that we don't talk about particularly often.
He's a star man.
Waiting in the sky. He'd like to come and meet us. But he'd think I'd blow our minds.
He would, actually.
Oh, good. Thanks for being
So
so moral about
Starman,
it.
Ted Knight was like a golden age superhero. He was part of like the All-Star Squadron. He was part of the Justice Society, like with Jay Garrick and Alan Scott, those like old-timer heroes. And then when he got too old for it, he just retired. He passed his like cape and everything and his like his power on to his son David.
Got hooked up with a great pension, full benefits.
Well, but so he gives everything to his son, and then David is killed relatively promptly. And then his other son, Jack, kind of reluctantly takes up the mantle of Starman. And that was this like great series through the 90s. But Ted Knight was still a character. Like he was still alive. He wasn't killed. He was just a retired superhero. But ultimately what happens with him is his old archenemy, the Mist, puts a nuke somewhere in Opal City. And while Starman is kind of dealing with the like these other distractions and that, Ted Knight, now an old man, finds a way to like sort of encase and bring this whole nuke and building like up into space so it can explode safely. And he and the Mist die together. Like he holds out his hand and says like, like the Mist is kind of crying. He's like, I only ever wanted to beat you. And he says like, come on, stand up. Like that's no way to face the end. And they kind of like, they're almost chummy about it in the end.
Brother of Suge Knight.
Yeah.
Little known fact.
Yeah, Ted and Suge. But yeah, so Ted Knight was happily retired I mean, a different Starman had already died, like his own son, and he wasn't putting the cape back on. But when...
Because Suge was like, no, I got this.
Yeah, as we know, Suge got this.
Yeah, Suge always got this.
But like, when it came to it, Ted was sort of obligated to jump back in. If you're the sort of person that's putting on a cape and fighting crime, you're unlikely to be able to just watch crime happen, let it happen. Maybe in the short term you can, but ultimately I don't think you can. And I think what that story proves is that for a superhero, there's no true retirement. Even Dark Knight Returns, great classic story. In that one, Bruce is retired for like 10 years, but he just, you get all those clips of like the news stuff about the mutants and the crime wave and blah, blah, blah. And it like gets to him and he can't take it anymore. And he had a good reason to retire because in that world, it's because of the death of Jason Todd. But he comes out of retirement eventually to be Batman again, even though he's an old man. So I think like the big answer is you don't really get to retire. You certainly don't get benefits. I guess unless you're friends with Bruce Wayne, if you're like Clark Kent and he like owns your apartment or shit like that. That's like the fringe benefit of being in the Justice League. But yeah,
heroes with benefits.
They don't get like 401ks or anything.
Is that like friends with benefits?
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah. That's where I went.
So you don't even have to be friends?
Are you not wearing a shirt?
Heroes?
Huh?
Are you wearing just a sweater and not a shirt?
No, I got like a tank top on.
Oh.
Such a rock star.
I know. All I see that
just chest.
The V that sweater makes goes on forever.
On it. Oh, god dang.
Oh, I didn't answer if they mow their own lawns or not. Not if you're Bruce Wayne. That's peasant work.
If you're
And
Superman,
also,
you use
doesn't he
your
live in
laser
like
vision.
Doesn't he
That's
not?
a bad idea on a lawn.
I don't think he has. Okay, no. Because if
Batman.
that logic,
No,
can't shave his face.
Batman.
Well, no, but he's more resistant to his heat vision than the grass is.
Yeah, it set it on fire. I get it.
I don't think so.
He could super speed cut it though.
That's true.
Just with his
And
back,
doesn't he also have that like freeze breath too? So he
does.
could freeze it and then
Yeah,
cut it with his laser beam eyes.
which is super healthy for a lawn. Just rapid changes in temperature.
Whatever. Batman like lives in a cave, so of course he doesn't have grass down there.
I think there are people that try to have normal lives. Like Animal Man is a hero with like an actual family, even when he's like an active superhero. There are people that try to have normal lives, but I think like when you're weighing those things and you're a superhero ends up winning, even if you don't want it to. I think that's kind of how that goes.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like a great idea. like oh, I've got a wife and kids, and
Sure hope no one with powers comes after them because of something I've done.
So we're gonna move on to the next question. Podfather.
Ooh.
Great name.
Weird. Have you tried the Secret World Chronicles? Because they touch on this topic, and I think between season 2 and 3, they do some standalone backstories where they introduce the first superheroes, or you Watchmen the hell out of it.
Well, I don't know what the Secret World Chronicles are. I'm sorry. So I haven't seen that, so I'm not really sure what the connection to Immortality is there. Something I should...
Something between season 2 and 3, probably.
Do I have to watch season 1 to get season 2 and 3?
Or can we just slip in between season 2s and season 3s?
Yeah. Can I just drop in like episode to episode? Is it like Friends or something? Or do I have to like watch from the beginning?
Dude, you gotta start from the beginning with Friends.
That's true. If you want the full experience.
Yeah.
What happened to Marcel?
Wait, there's a monkey?
The monkey should have come back in season 10. The Watchmen the hell out of it. I mean, the only character that's the only character that's even remotely immortal in Watchmen is Dr. Manhattan. But Watchmen doesn't really deal with that. Like the fact that he'll live forever. It does deal with how he views time and how it's kind of prismatic, like the past and the future and the present are all happening simultaneously for him. But it doesn't really deal with the fact that Dr. Manhattan like won't die. There's no other character in that world that has that. So I'm not necessarily sure where Podfather wants me to go with this Watchmen thing. But what I will say is that wherever Dr. Manhattan did go, he's now messing with the DC universe, and we don't know for how long. So it's possible that during the Doomsday Clock proceedings, we might learn something a little bit about what Immortality has done to Dr. Manhattan. Like, has that removed him even further from his humanity, or has it kind of driven him insane, or is he fine with it, or, you know what I mean? Like, does he just view life as like a thing to play with now because he's lived for so long? Like, we don't really know where. We know that Doomsday Clock starts in 1992 in the Watchmen universe, but when you consider that Dr. Manhattan has gone sort of out of the universe, we don't know how long he's been out there now. And especially with the way he sees time, it might be interesting to see if that's affected him in some way. Because that is a part of the Watchmen story, is whether or not he's even connected to humanity anymore.
He's got a lot of reading done.
Yeah.
He's doing a lot of push-ups.
It's like he finished all of Agatha Christie's books.
He got into yoga.
Yeah.
He's renamed it because he does it with some buddies at the bar. It's called Broga.
Broga. Damn it. I knew that's where you're going.
Yeah.
I like it.
God damn it.
For when you're worried about the female gaze, Broga.
Who's been worried about the female? That's not what we're dealing with in 2017.
Speaking of that, my wife had a question that I figured I would add.
Yeah.
Who do you think the most attractive version of Ra's al Ghul is?
Like in live action?
Any.
Ooh. Most attractive version of Ra's al Ghul. I would
Now,
say,
hold on.
Yeah.
Are we talking physical attributes? Are we talking like
Whatever attracts you to Ra's al Ghul?
I think,
the
like,
name? Goddamn.
both physically and kind of like the persona. It's the one from Gotham.
Really?
It's Dr. Bashir, whatever that actor's name is. Alexander Siddig. Is that his name?
Okay.
I just think he's like so classy, and he plays like that sort of ancient wisdom kind of thing really well. Liam Neeson is like Liam Neeson in Batman Begins.
Yeah, if you're into that,
he's good.
Yeah.
But like, is he like what I think of as Ra's al Ghul? Not really.
No.
The guy that played him on Arrow did a pretty good job, but wasn't necessarily physically what I.
My wife's was the animated Justice League.
From
Batman.
the Batman series.
Yeah,
I mean that Ra's had some muscle.
Right?
He had a cool, like, very smooth voice too.
Mm-hmm.
I'd put him up there, but I think it's the one from Gotham. It's, you know, again, like I said, like the casting is like the one bright spot in Gotham.
I'm saying that Batman the animated series, that voice got me wetter than Gotham Harbor.
I think my favorite is.
Am I right?
Right?
Who's with me?
Right?
I think my favorite is Ra's al Ghul from the Drag Show. Love that one, like a lot.
What?
That's RuPaul.
Oh shit!
Not even close.
Yeah. Rouge al Ghul. Got there.
Yeah, you got it. I'm proud of you.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that covers all the pages.
Yeah.
As it were. The Immortal pages.
Talked a little bit about Immortality. Well, I'll mention it again. There is a new series coming out from DC called The Immortal Men. And it's going to feature these kind of characters who are either eternal or immortal. They've been playing a role in DC Metal right now. It's included Ra's al Ghul, Vandal Savage, The Immortal Man. There's quite a number of people in there. I think Felix Faust is probably even in there. But yeah, I would pick up the Immortal Men if you're interested in some of those like fringy characters or just that idea, because it's probably going to be a neat book.
Who's your favorite Immortal character?
I really like Vandal Savage.
Yeah.
I like the idea that like you would think he'd have already conquered the world by now, but he's spent so many of his lives just like acquiring knowledge or skills. You know, he might have spent like someone's lifetime becoming great at the piano, or like just reading books about like, you know, Southeast Asian history or whatever. Like, so by the time you get to like the present day, he knows like everything and he can do everything, and he's amassed all this wealth. He's like, he to me is like one of those characters that like he's trying to reach the full potential of like humanity. Like what would you be able to accomplish with infinite time?
Oh yeah.
You know, and that's a character that actually tries to explore that. So I find that interesting about him.
Finally finished the internet.
I find him less interesting when he's just like, and I'll take over the world. I like it better when he's like Yeah, I was like Genghis Khan, and that's where I like honed my military strategy and things like that. But then I moved on from that. I like learned the harp or like whatever the fuck.
That's fucking rad.
I kind of like that idea that he's making himself the best version of himself in every domain.
And what's your favorite way a character has gained immortality?
Favorite way? Ooh, that's favorite like narratively because it's like compelling. It's probably like Hawkman and Hawkgirl.
Of course.
You know, that idea of like reincarnation. It's sort of tied to them falling in love, and that is like very narratively compelling. But like it sucks for them. Another one that kind of sucks for the person is the Resurrection Man.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's like part of this like scientific experiment. And at some point he actually like loses his memory too. So he doesn't even know who he is, but he can feel each death, and resurrecting is like painful for him because he's like being stitched back together by these tektites. So that one kind of sucks. But again, it's kind of like story compelling. The best way to get immortality. I mean, the easiest is if you have a Lazarus pit. If you're Ra's al Ghul and you're just like, gonna go for a soak, and then like shave 600 years off your lifespan. But again, he's not immortal. He's just basically like
he just has access to his resource.
Like,
he just has access to the fountain of youth.
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know if that technically counts, but that's definitely like the least psychologically damaging, I think, version of it is just doing that. But even that's not true though, because the chemicals in the Lazarus pit like make you go crazy over time. So maybe I might not think that there's a good way to be immortal.
No. Would you want to be immortal?
I think even if I was doing the Vandal Savage thing and like trying to acquire every skill, you'd get bored. Or you'd get too sad. Like, I actually was thinking about this when we were watching Justice League, that like Diana has been off Themyscira for 100 years because she was in World War I, and then I was like, she's working at like a art gallery. So like at some point, everyone she works with retires out and they're like, hey, you still look 30. And then she has to go like, oh shit, like move to a different country and like just leave that life behind. Like,
so is she immortal?
She's eternal. You can kill Wonder Woman, but she will live forever if you don't.
I get you.
So I mean, like that's kind of sad too. Even if everything went well and Steve Trevor didn't blow up in that plane, she'd still have to watch him die. It's like the Arwen Aragorn thing, right? Like it's like that argument. So I think like I wouldn't want it.
Yeah.
At a certain point I would, if I could do the elven thing where you could just will yourself mortal, I would do that. But there are things I would use that time for, but I don't think I would ride it out. You know what I mean? What about you guys?
Would I want to be immortal?
Yeah.
Yes.
I am.
Okay. And
since when?
Since the beginning of time. I was the Big Bang.
Oh, okay.
Right. And
I've seen that video.
You've used none of this time to improve your reading ability.
No, I took all this time to learn how to grow my hair perfectly.
Oh, he does that.
And have wonderful facial hair.
You know, he messaged me the other day and asked me if he should cut it.
He told me he was going to cut it.
Fuck him. No, you're not allowed to cut it.
Like not even like shoulder length?
You're off the podcast.
No. Yeah, that's it. This is the thing that's keeping you here.
This is what the listeners want.
Yeah.
They want to listen to your long hair.
They want to listen to my vain woes.
That's right.
Okay, but like seriously, would you want to be immortal?
Yeah, I could be okay with that.
Really?
Yeah.
You wouldn't like miss people or get sad?
No,
I'd love to be
like humans.
eternal.
Right.
I'd love to have the option to check out.
Sure, yeah.
But like
wait, check in and out or just check out, period?
just check out.
Well, let's assume we're all checked in because we're here doing the podcast.
Well, no, but I mean,
Just
like,
much like the listener.
you could take like a little like spa day for like a decade.
Right.
And then just let some people fuck off and die and then you come back.
I would, yeah, I'd like to have the option to check out, but I'd love to do have you remember Groundhog Day?
Yeah.
Well, do you know that he was supposed, it's somewhere around like 300 days that he's actually been there or more than that? No. It's like a number of years.
Is that the idea?
Yeah. He's been there for, it was something like 100 years or something like that. He's basically been there. if you look at someone's done the math and stuff, and basically because he's had to learn those skills, and each of those take whatever
X amount of time.
Because it's however many hours to become an expert on anything.
Right.
So he has to do
10,000
that
hours.
10,000 hours, and that times all those different skills he's learned.
Right.
He's technically has been there for like a very, very long time.
So
So I like that idea. But at a certain point, I'd want to be like, I'm done.
yeah. I mean, we talked about this before we started recording, but like I find that Jumanji ending like super dark, and that's just that Robin Williams character and the woman go back into their child selves with like all of the knowledge of like whatever the last 15 or 20 years, however long it had been.
Are you talking about that Italian anti-Semitic cannibalism film? Jumanji.
That joke.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like I find that disturbing that they have to relive basically like 15 years of their lives with that knowledge. So then you think like, if you just have
how do you make decisions?
Lifetime, and like you just for fun one time be like, oh, I like played it by the book this time I'm gonna like, whatever, I'm gonna be like a drug dealer, like this time I'm gonna like, I'm not gonna get married, or I will get married, or I'll have kids, or like I won't. And every single time, every single generation, you're just watching like everything around you completely change. You're watching everyone around you die. I don't know that I'm actually capable of like dealing with that. I think that would get to me. I think after the first, I mean, probably even after the first go, that would be too much. You'd be like Captain America, right? Like especially if you stayed like forever young, right? You'd just be like sitting with your spouse.
Forever young.
And they would resent you because you were still like young. You aren't getting hospitalized when they're getting hospitalized.
I'd get so much traveling done, no one would notice. Just like straight up.
I don't know how government ID would work.
Mine would just say 28.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah. I just never have to get it updated.
Yeah, ever.
I guess that's not my biggest concern, but yeah.
It is a good thing to worry about though.
So I say no to immortality. Colin says
I'm
sure.
all in,
Richard says like
Yeah.
Listeners, would you want to be immortal?
Who wore it best?
Yeah. Tweet at us.
#I'm mortal.
Or if you want to live forever, #immortal.
Yes.
And then we'll tally the votes. It's either immortal or I'm mortal.
Oh, I love that. So before we're closing out here, we wanted to make an announcement and also a request. So as the holiday season is coming upon us, we are going to be we are entering Darkmas. Blast the halls with lots of Darkmas. Yeah, it's exciting.
It's going to be so much better than that.
Yeah. Or it's going to be similar to this because I'm 4 glasses of wine in.
Or just like that, yeah.
So part of what we're going to be doing is on December 10th, we are going to be recording 6 hours straight of Dr. DC. Yes, we're doing a marathon of Dr. DC. We are not doing themed episodes. We are just going to do a grab bag of anything you guys send us. So what we are asking for is send us any questions you have about Dr. DC from now up until that date, and we will make sure we put them inside the episode if we can. This is going to be 12 separate episodes for 6 hours, probably more because we're it's probably going to be closer to 7 hours now when I think about it. But
no one else.
We'll try to keep it around that time. But we're basically going to be recording the podcast all day long, and we're going to record 12 episodes. So we're going to get the 12 episodes of Darkmas.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Any questions that you have about characters, storylines, artists, movies, TV,
us, what our preferences are.
Yeah. We've already talked about our fears, but if there's anything else you want to know about us to add to your file,
any questions you guys have,
any questions, send them in. And we're recording that on December
10th. That would be a Sunday. So yes, and then just #Darkmas. Yeah. So DOCMAS, and we will make sure that we put that in. Yeah. And we're going to be going to some back questions that we haven't answered before, and it will be a big grab bag, and you guys will get 12 episodes in a row of Dr. DC. So if you're not tired of us Christmas. Yeah, you certainly will be.
You will be. Yeah. You'll be praying for a Christmas break.
That's right. And then we'll probably take a small break, maybe a week or something like that, because some of us are going out of town.
Yep.
So we're going to be
To
doing
an
that.
undisclosed location.
Yes, undisclosed location. That's right. If you want to send us Christmas cookies, reach out to us directly.
Yeah.
Oh, I love Christmas cookies. And you know what I saw at the grocery store the other
Or
day?
anything else.
Pound cake.
Is that good?
Oh, I love pound cake.
DM us if you want to send us pound cake, Christmas cookies, or any fun Christmas stuff, and we will.
You know what I'm
we'll
talking
have it
about,
for
right?
that episode because
those,
it's going to be all day long.
Like fruit.
I think I don't know what a pound cake is.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I know.
it's when you get real. Hey, Colin.
No.
You know what happens when you get when you masturbate on a pastry?
Pound cake?
That's right.
Or is that pound kake?
Oh, no. Oh, God. All right.
Is that when a bunch of people get together and do that on a...
Yeah, pretty much. So if you want to send those questions in or just get in touch with us in any way, you can do it via our multitudinous social media
All
platforms.
of our social media.
On Facebook at...
Dr. DC Podcast.
Instagram.
Dr. DC Podcast.
Twitter.
At Dr. DC.
Email.
drdcpodcast@gmail.com.
Also, I know you guys haven't been doing it, but we would definitely love to see it. It just takes a few seconds, and I definitely do it for all my favorite podcasts. And now I'm getting like baggy and pandering to the audience.
Super annoying.
You're all beautiful
You're crying.
people, and please just review us on iTunes. Give us a 5-star review. You don't even have to write what Colin does.
If you don't do it, we'll have to put Colin down.
That's right. For good.
I just said I wanted to be immortal. What the fuck?
I mean, you can want it, but
It's not going to
oh
happen.
my god, guys. Hashtag Colin immortal.
or Colin, I'm mortal.
Save me.
But yeah, go to iTunes, leave us a 5-star review.
Make sure to go to our website and check out.
DrDCPodcast.com.
Yeah, we're
.ca.
That's right. The doctor is always putting out new blogs, kind of going into more detail, and sometimes he's going on different subjects as well.
Yeah, and if you've been playing the Dr. DC podcast drinking game, let us know how that went.
If you're still conscious.
If you're still alive. Yeah.
All right.
Well, some kind of sign off.
Adios. Babadook, 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 babadook,
Scary,
babadook,
scary,
babadook,
scary,
babadook, babadook,
scary.
babadook,
He's so scary.
babadook, 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 babadook,
Don't look in the basement.
babadook,
He's gonna get you.
babadook, dude.
Aquaman, all the superheroes. They always fight for what is right. Live with danger and adventure.